Hello, everyone. Welcome to the English Hustle podcast. I'm Alex, your host for today.
And I'm Maria. We are here to help you improve your English by talking about fun and everyday topics.
Yes, and remember, we use simple and easy words so that everyone can follow along.
Today we're talking about hostel life. Have you ever lived in a hostel? Or do you wonder what it's like?
Hostel life is exciting, but it can also be challenging. It's a place where you live with many people, share rooms, and learn to be independent.
We'll share some stories, fun moments, and tips about hostel life. So, stay with us.
This episode is not just about hostel life. It's also about helping you learn English.
Yes, you'll learn new words and phrases while listening to our stories. And don't worry, we will keep it simple and fun.
So, let's get started. Let's start with a simple question. What is hostel life? Hostel life is very different from living at home. It's when you live in a shared space, often with other students or workers away from your family. Hostels are usually places with dorm rooms, shared kitchens, and common areas where everyone interacts.
That's right, Alex. Living in a hostel is like living in a big shared home where you meet people from different backgrounds. It's not just a place to sleep, but also a place to learn, grow, and make memories.
Yes, but it's also about adapting. You share rooms, bathrooms, and sometimes even your study time with others. It's a completely new experience for someone who has only lived at home.
Exactly. It's about balancing fun and responsibilities. You get to meet new people, make friends, and learn about different lifestyles. But it also comes with challenges, like adjusting to the rules of the hostel and living in a shared space.
And we'll talk about these challenges later in the episode. For now, just think of hostel life as a unique mix of independence, learning, and socializing.
Let me tell you about my first day in the hostel. I was so nervous. I had never lived away from my family before, and everything felt so new. The room was small, and I had to share it with 3 other girls. At first, I didn't know how to talk to them or where to keep my things.
I remember my first day, too. It was a mix of excitement and fear. Meeting new people, unpacking my bags, and figuring out the hostel's rules, it was overwhelming. But I also felt a little independent for the first time.
Yes, and then you start getting used to things. I realized everyone else felt the same. We were all new and nervous. By the end of the week, we were already laughing and sharing snacks.
That's so true. Hostel life pushes you out of your comfort zone. You meet people with different habits, and sometimes it's difficult to adjust. For example, I remember one of my roommates loved playing loud music late at night. It annoyed me, but eventually, we worked out a schedule.
It's also funny how quickly you learn to adapt. For me, the food was a big change. Hostel food wasn't like my mum's cooking at all. It took me weeks to get used to it, but now I can laugh about it.
Yes, food is a big one. But in the end, these little things become stories you tell for years. The awkwardness, the challenges, and even the struggles make hostel life special. Now, let's dive into the biggest differences between hostel life and home life. The first one is independence. At home, everything is taken care of. Your meals, your laundry, and even your wake-up calls. In a hostel, you have to do all of that yourself.
That's so true, Alex. I remember the first time I had to wash my clothes by hand in the hostel. It was a disaster. But over time I learned, and now I feel proud that I can manage these things on my own.
Another big difference is privacy. At home, you have your own space, your own room, and your family to support you. In a hostel, you share almost everything: your room, your bathroom, even your time.
Yes, but sharing also teaches you valuable lessons. You learn to respect others' boundaries, share responsibilities, and adjust to different habits. It's not easy, but it's rewarding.
And let's not forget about the social life. In a hostel, you're never really alone. There's always someone to talk to, play games with, or study with. It's like living with a big group of friends.
That's one of the best parts of hostel life. I remember celebrating birthdays, late-night chats, and even cooking together with my roommates. Those moments are priceless.
But it's also a learning curve. Hostel life teaches you to manage your time, money, and relationships. You grow up faster because you have to take responsibility for yourself.
And those lessons stay with you forever. Even though hostel life can be tough, it's an experience that shapes you into a stronger and more independent person.
Let me tell you about one of the funniest moments from my hostel life. It was during my first month and I was still trying to fit in. One evening, my roommates and I decided to cook dinner together. Sounds simple, right? But trust me, it was a complete disaster.
Oh no, what happened?
Well, none of us really knew how to cook properly. I volunteered to make pasta because I thought it would be easy. But I didn't realize you had to boil the pasta first. I just tossed it into the pan with some sauce.
Oh my, so how did it turn out?
It was terrible. The pasta was hard, the sauce was too salty, and the whole kitchen was filled with smoke because I forgot to lower the heat. But the best part? Instead of getting angry, my roommates started laughing and called it Alex's special pasta. We all ended up eating instant noodles instead and joking about it all night.
That's such a great memory. It shows how hostel life is full of small moments like this that bring people closer.
Exactly. It wasn't just about the food, it was about the fun we had together. That's the beauty of hostel life. You learn, you laugh, and you make memories that stay with you forever.
Now let me tell you about my first big challenge in hostel life, adjusting to a shared room. At home I had my own space, so sharing a room with 3 strangers was very hard for me at first.
I can imagine. What made it so difficult?
Well, everyone had different habits. One of my roommates liked to wake up at 5 a.m. and do yoga. Another stayed up late watching movies on her laptop. And the third one was always talking on the phone. I didn't know how to handle it.
That sounds stressful. How did you manage?
At first I felt really frustrated, but then I decided to talk to them. We had a meeting and shared our schedules. We agreed to keep the lights off after midnight and use headphones for music or movies. It wasn't perfect, but it worked.
That's a great example of teamwork. Communication is so important in a hostel.
Yes, and I learned a lot about patience and compromise. I also started to see the positive side of sharing a room. One of my roommates taught me how to meditate, and another helped me with my assignments. By the end of the semester, we were like a family.
That's the magic of hostel life. It's not always easy, but it teaches you valuable lessons.
Absolutely. Adjusting to hostel life made me stronger and more open-minded. It was tough at first, but now I wouldn't trade those experiences for anything.
Let's talk about the challenges of hostel life. One of the biggest ones for me was homesickness. Moving away from my family was harder than I thought. I missed my mom's cooking, my dad's advice, and even my annoying little brother.
I understand that, Alex. Homesickness is so common, especially in the beginning. I used to call my mom every night just to feel close to home.
Yes, me too. But over time, I realized that being homesick is part of the process. It's how you grow and learn to be independent.
Another challenge was sharing spaces. At home, you have your own room, your own bathroom, and your own time. But in a hostel, you have to share everything, your room, your bed space, and even your snacks.
Sharing can be really hard. I remember one roommate who always used my shampoo without asking. It was so frustrating. But eventually I learned to talk about it and set boundaries.
And don't forget about the noise. Hostel life is rarely quiet. There's always someone talking, laughing, or playing music. It can be hard to focus, especially during exams.
That's true. I had to buy earplugs just to get some peace. But I think these challenges also make hostel life unique. They teach you patience and how to deal with different people.
Even though hostel life comes with challenges, it also teaches you so much. For me, the biggest lesson was how to manage my time. In a hostel, there's no one to remind you to study or clean your room. You have to take responsibility for yourself.
That's such a good point, Maria. I learned how to manage money. Living in a hostel means you have a limited budget and you need to decide what's important, like food, books, or going out with friends.
Exactly. And another big lesson is communication. You learn how to talk to people, solve problems, and even make friends with strangers.
Yes, and these skills stay with you for life. Hostel life also teaches you how to adapt to new situations. You meet people from different cultures, try new foods, and learn to respect different lifestyles.
That's so true, Alex. Living in a hostel also made me more confident. When you face challenges like homesickness or disagreements with roommates, you realize you can handle more than you thought.
And let's not forget about teamwork. Whether it's cooking together, cleaning up, or studying as a group, hostel life shows you the power of working with others.
Exactly. It's not just about living, it's about growing. The lessons you learn in a hostel stay with you forever.
That's right, Maria. Hostel life is like a training ground for the real world. It's challenging, but it's also rewarding. Let's start with one of the most important things in hostel life, making friends. When you live in a hostel, your roommates and neighbors become like your second family.
That's so true, Alex. My first tip is to be open and friendly. Smile and say hello to people you meet in the common areas or the dining hall.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to start a conversation. Something as simple as asking, "Where are you from?" or "What are you studying?" can break the ice.
Another great way to make friends is by joining group activities. Whether it's a movie night, a study group, or a birthday party, these are perfect opportunities to bond with others.
Yes, and don't forget to share. Sharing snacks, helping with assignments, or just listening to someone's problems can create strong connections.
Also, remember to respect others. Hostel life is about building trust and understanding. If you're kind and respectful, people will naturally want to be your friend.
Great point, Maria. Friendship in a hostel often starts with small gestures and grows into lifelong bonds.
Now let's talk about managing time, space, and studies. In a hostel, there are so many distractions. Friends, games, late-night talks. It's easy to lose focus.
Absolutely. My first tip is to create a daily schedule. Decide when you'll study, eat, and relax. A routine helps you stay organized.
And for managing space, keep your area clean and tidy. In a shared room, clutter can cause arguments. Use storage boxes or shelves to keep your things in order.
Good advice. For studies, find a quiet time or place to focus. If the room is noisy, you can use the library or even noise-canceling headphones.
And don't forget to balance studies with relaxation. Taking breaks to chat with friends or go for a walk can refresh your mind and keep you motivated.
Exactly, Maria. Time management is the key to enjoying hostel life while staying productive. Lastly, let's talk about staying positive and independent. Hostel life can be challenging, but a positive mindset makes all the difference.
I agree. When things get tough, focus on the good moments, like laughing with friends or achieving something on your own. Gratitude helps you stay happy.
And independence is one of the best parts of hostel life. Learn to cook simple meals, wash your clothes, and budget your money. These skills make you feel confident and capable.
Also, stay connected with your family and friends back home. A quick phone call or video chat can lift your spirits when you feel homesick.
And don't forget to set personal goals. Whether it's improving your grades or learning a new hobby, working towards something keeps you motivated.
That's great advice, Alex. Hostel life is about finding your own strength and enjoying the journey.
Exactly, Maria. With the right mindset, hostel life can be one of the most rewarding experiences of your life. All right, Maria. Let's quickly go over what we've talked about today. We started by discussing what hostel life is, how it's a mix of independence, challenges, and fun moments.
Yes, and we shared our first impressions of hostel life, like adjusting to a new environment and learning to share spaces with others.
Then, we talked about the key differences between hostel life and home life. Hostel life is all about being independent, sharing responsibilities, and building friendships.
Exactly. We also shared some personal stories, like your funny cooking disaster and my struggle to adjust to a shared room. These stories showed how hostel life can be challenging but also full of unforgettable memories.
We didn't stop there. We gave tips on making friends, managing time and space, and staying positive and independent. These are practical ways to make hostel life easier and more enjoyable.
That's right. Hostel life isn't just about living. It's about growing, learning, and having fun along the way.
Before we wrap up, we'd love to hear from you, our listeners. Do you have any interesting or funny hostel stories or maybe some tips for making hostel life better?
Yes, share your experiences with us. You can write to us or comment on our podcast page. We'd love to include your stories in a future episode.
Hostel life is such a unique experience, and everyone has something special to share. So don't be shy. We're all here to learn and laugh together.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the English Hustle podcast. We hope you enjoyed our conversation about hostel life.
And don't forget to follow us for more fun and easy-to-understand episodes. We have many exciting topics coming up.
Yes, and if you liked this episode, please share it with your friends or anyone who's about to start hostel life.
That's it for today. Stay positive, keep learning, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.
Goodbye and take care.